What's up, XO? What we are going to talk about today is the Weeknd's new album that may or may not be coming. Now, the Weeknd has teased so far for the longest. It's feeling like it's been going on for years now, but it's probably been a couple months. He has teased the release of a new album, and I could say that it started when he posted the Instagram graphic or the Instagram picture of, I believe this was on the anniversary of Dawn FM, where he posted Dawn FM album. He posted the After Hours album. And then in the third slot was a question mark by the album, hinting that he's thinking about a project, or he's possibly working on a project. Or at least has worked on the project and is thinking about releasing a new one. Hence the start of the album rollout. Now, what I'm gonna say or talk about with this video is some of the stuff that we know in regards to the Weeknd's album, as well as, I'll give a few predictions at the end. Now, in terms of what do we know? We don't know anything. I know, shocking. That's the truth. We don't know much, But some of the little things that we do know is that this will be a part of something that the Weeknd has deemed or coined the new trilogy. Now, that phrase that he's used has come up back during the release of his Dawn FM album, where there were a lot of fans, if you call them that, I guess, that were not necessarily stoked or happy with the Dawn FM album. Now, at the time, I could see why some people would be disappointed. The Weeknd, he garnered or gathered a lot of fans from this After Hours album, and a lot of them don't quite understand that he does change it up every album. He's doing something different. He's changing up the sound. He's changing up the style. He's changing. He likes to change it up. He doesn't like to remain in the same spot. He likes to, do different things. And Dawn FM was a little bit different, especially for an artist of the Weeknd's status. A lot of them in that realm usually make the same stuff. They go the same beats. The same everything. There's nothing much different. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, the Weeknd went and took a more conceptual approach with this, making it the Dawn FM radio themed kind of album, having some advertisements in there like a radio, having a poem to end the record. Now, some people didn't take too kind to that, and they went and dogged on it within 24 hours of listening to it, and not really, or I should say 24 hours of hearing it, but not necessarily listening, consuming the music, understanding the music, and taking time with it, because that's what you should do with meaningful music, I should say. They went on Twitter, dogged him, and this prompted the Weeknd to respond on Twitter. Now they call it X, but at the time it was Twitter. And he responded, "Y'all don't even realize that this is a new trilogy." So you gotta keep in mind, everybody in there was saying, "Hey, we want trilogy. We want trilogy. We want the old Weeknd. We want the old." So man, y'all need to realize, recognize that this is a new trilogy. So that's where he coined that term, the new trilogy, from. And with that being said, this third installment will add to the trilogy of After Hours, Dawn FM, and now whatever his third installment is. One of the other things that we do know is that the Weeknd did say that this album, this last album right here, this next album, will be his last under the name The Weeknd, or as The Weeknd, the character. We had to take a moment of silence for that one. pour one out for that one. But yeah, he did say this will be his last one, his last album as that character. That's another, I guess, thing that we do know is that, or at least that we think we know is, we think that he's previewing some songs. You never know. What am I saying? The Weeknd at a party slash theater slash, they say it was Mike Dean's birthday party. I don't know. He previewed a couple of songs. Now, one of us, if you're a big fan of The Weeknd, you already know this song. But the other song, something a little different. The song that we all know if you're fans of him, if you're here, is Take Me Back to LA. Obviously, he previewed that song back in 2020 as an unreleased song before ultimately releasing I Missed You, Final Lullaby, and Nothing Compares. Take Me Back to LA, he previewed it on Instagram Live back in 2020. Never actually released it. He sang that song live on stage. Obviously, probably a private event, but you know people record. He knows that too. At live event, and he also sang a song, a cover by, I honestly don't know who it's by, called In Heaven. He posted on his Instagram that song as well, which is apparently in some movie. I'm sure you can do some research on that. It's not really important. But he sang both those songs, and based on recent history of The Weeknd singing songs, unreleased songs live, he tends to release them shortly after. An example of this, Double Fantasy from the Idol soundtrack last year, sang it live, and ended up releasing it. You think about Lesser Man, same thing. Granted, these are from the Idol soundtrack, but he performed those songs live while doing the second leg of the Dawn FM After Hours Till Dawn tour, and released them shortly after. So there's maybe new music. Now we think, I would suspect that this music is for this album. I would think, but you never know. I would think that it is. I would assume. So that's something that we do know. Now, moving on to some of my early predictions. I'm assuming that these two songs are future, or, pardon me. Assuming that these two songs are for the album, that means that he's fully starting this rollout, and those are his singles that he's going to be putting out. So I would say, based off of that, I would say this album probably drops in September. Maybe around the anniversary of Kissland. I don't know why, but it has a song out there called King of the Fall. That's his time. That's his time of the year. I would definitely think that if he's going to make an album that's going to be his last album as The Weeknd, I'd say he's dropping it in fall. I'd say he's dropping it in September. Heck, maybe even on Labor Day weekend. We just throwing stuff out there. That's one of my early predictions. The second one, based on these records, based on the naming of them in After Hours and Dawn FM. Now you got this last one. Predicting an album name. What would the album name be? Some would think it would be Afternoon. I'm sorry, that was a good one. But if I were to predict an album name for this, I'd probably say it'd be Able. I think he'll do a self-titled album after his actual name. I think back to earlier, I should say last year or so, a little bit when The Idol was coming out, he was changed his profile names and stuff to Able, and he's kind of making like he wanted to be called that. So I could definitely see this album being titled Able, a self-titled album. And I can also see the album cover being Able, but a baby picture of him. Kind of like the old hip hop albums in the 90s when you think about Nas's Illmatic or Biggie's Ready to Die, where he had the kid picture of himself on it. I could definitely see that being the album cover art. Now, as for the contents of the record, I could definitely see this being, whereas with After Hours, you had him kind of in the same old ways, but also you kind of seen him falling into the trap of the same ways from all the previous encounters and previous stuff that he's done in his old albums as the character. And After Hours, you ultimately seen him killing off that character or dying with the Weeknd character. And you move on to Dawn FM, and you had him in Purgatory, more reflective on what he saw in his life, stuff that happened. With this album, I could definitely see being more of a reflective album, hence the song In Heaven. I shouldn't say reflective, pardon me. A rebirth album, a new him. The Weeknd character, by the end of Dawn FM, he's accepted who he was, accepted who he is. And now he's finally moved on to that purgatory, or out of the purgatory to the afterlife. So I'd say that this would be a rebirth for him, hence the song In Heaven, hence the song Take Me Back to LA, which I think would be interesting. Yeah, especially when it's finally released. But I could definitely see this being a rebirth album for him. Maybe he has some more personal stuff, more towards his actual personal life. And obviously, he's gonna have some of the Weeknd stuff in there. But I could definitely see him pivoting more towards personal matters. Those are some of my album predictions, thoughts, opinions, and stuff that I think might happen. Now, obviously, those are my way too early predictions, as well as some of the stuff that we know. But obviously, things change. Let me know what you think is going to happen. What's the album name going to be? What's going to be the title? What is he going to wear? One quick thing I think he's going to wear all white. Come on, you got to. You wore red, you wore black. Now you got to wear all white, or maybe even all blue. I don't know. Let me know. Comment section. What are your predictions for the Weeknd's upcoming